It is a really important part of success of athletics to be able to compete in terms of the talent and the money that it takes to recruit that talent.
Spartan Ventures is set to launch in just over a week, but questions are already surfacing. Michigan State University plans to use the new organization to raise money for its athletics program. But with both the school's president and athletics director leaving, some are raising concerns about who will lead the effort and what comes next. Good evening. I'm Ann Emmerich.
And I'm David Andrews. Outgoing MSU President Kevin Guskowitz and former athletic director Jay Batt were part of the effort to bring Spartan Ventures to the East Lansing School. News 10's Bobby Cushing in the TV 10 newsroom tonight with more on how this could all shake out. Bobby?
Yeah, good evening, Ann and David. The message from leadership at Spartan Ventures is simple. It's still moving forward on July 1st, and they say it promises to bring big things. But some people warn turmoil with the Board of Trustees could have some unintended consequences for the future of the endeavor. Spartan Ventures, the organization created to bring in revenue for Michigan State athletics, is set to start in just over a week. Organization leaders said in early June, Spartan Ventures is still moving forward, even with the departures of University President Kevin Guskowitz and Athletic Director Jay Batt.
Regardless of leadership, regardless of, which people are in which seats, Michigan State athletics is strong, and we're going to continue to thrive into the future.
John Truscott is a Spartan alum and worked as a consultant for John Engler when he served as interim university president. Truscott says the turmoil with the Board of Trustees could become a challenging factor to what Spartan Ventures wants to accomplish down the road.
At MSU, there are a couple trustees who want all of the details and all the legal agreements and everything, even though it's a separate entity from the university.
He says the Board of Trustees should let the athletics department do what they need to do in order to succeed for the good of the whole school.
It helps recruit students. It helps recruit other donations. It really is what people see first and foremost, because MSU is a great institution, but they see athletics first.
Now, Truscott says as the university searches for a new president, they should look for someone who has a focus and strong ability to raise money, not just for the athletics department, but for the whole school. Live in the newsroom, Bobby Cushing. Back to you guys.
All right, Bobby, thank you. Following the announced departure of President Guskowitz and Athletic Director Jay Batt, Spartan Ventures released a statement saying the organization has been working for months to build their framework and are ready to elevate Spartan athletics to new heights.